I'm supposed to be the franchise player, and we're in here talking about practice. I mean, listen, we talking about practice. Not a game, not a game, not a game. We talking about practice. Not a game, not a game.
Me. Bam, bam. Me, man.
Not a game.
Slap that like she scored 30.
We talking about sports. I mean, what we even talking about, man? We talking about sports here.
All right. It's We Talking About Sports. This is our NBA Return podcast episode, special edition. We're just talking NBA because the NBA is returning this week. As we mentioned, last week was the last weekend without any major sports in the U.S. NBA is coming back, MLB is coming back, and for those that like the NHL, it's coming back for you as well. That's not us, or at least that's not me, until playoff time. But
playoffs intense.
But we're gonna break down some NBA things. The first thing we want to go over is who's coming back to the bubble. Roland, I know you mentioned Zion had left for some personal
Zion
interest.
left, Montrezl Harrell left, but I do know that Brogdon has returned since he beat COVID a couple of weeks ago, I think he tested positive a few weeks ago and recently beat it. And the big news, we talked about it last week, is Westbrook is back too.
He's there.
Yeah, Westbrook is
no
back.
No worries.
I think he's going to be ready. I think he's going to be
lit
ready.
that candle and it worked. He should be there for the game.
That was your doing then, huh?
Jokic has made it back also to the bubble, I believe, too. And he was the one that I think he was off in Serbia or his home country during most of this coronavirus. So good to see that he's made it over, made it back with his team. I do know he was one of the guys that tested positive, but yeah. I think he's back right now. So
a lot of them Serbian stars were positive. And the reason I say that is like even the tennis guys were coming out positive. I didn't understand what was going on.
I saw they were at a party
in Serbia or what?
Yeah, no, actually, I think that's what happened. I think they were partying, and there's actually, I think, a video of Jokic partying. I don't want to spread rumors, but that's what I remember reading, and that's kind of how they all ended up with it, unfortunately. So,
Even at his tournament, he didn't want people getting their temperatures checked. Nothing like it was weird. And he ended up getting it.
Yeah.
You don't know, you don't know.
They're like anti-vaccine and shit.
Yeah. I guess you don't know, you don't have it.
So, speaking of these returns, what I saw this week was an alert that said everybody who's in the bubble now is corona-free. Does that include Jokic and all these guys that have come back, Brogdon, and are they included in those data reports, or are those pending tests?
I don't think that they'd fly them out without them being at least negative once, before getting on the plane. And then again, they got to get tested once they land. So maybe that's what they mean, that once the players get there and they get tested by the NBA, I believe they have to pass two consecutive negative tests before their quarantine is over or whatever.
So what I'm hearing is it's a 10-day quarantine in the NBA bubble, not a full 14.
But even with Harden, bro, Harden got there and 2 days later he was scrimmaging. So I don't know how much weight I'm putting into that. Like I said, D'Antoni had said, I don't think Harden will be practicing with us on Sunday. And that was on Tuesday, and he practiced Wednesday. So.
Well, he did. I saw he practiced with maybe a controversial mask. I don't know if you all saw that. And there was a little bit of... He had to say, hey, it's not political. It's just I like the way it looked, But it was big news all of a sudden.
Do you all think he knew what it meant or no?
No, I don't think so. I think James Harden's one of the few NBA players that you can cop that plea with, because I really do think he's just off in his own little world.
He's a party boy. He doesn't know. Yeah. He's not paying attention to that.
There's a lot of people.
I'll shoot him some.
There's a lot of people who believe that that's common knowledge.
Not for James Harden. I give him a pass here.
Yeah, I give James Harden a pass.
I saw a bunch of people going on Twitter. Young Thug was saying like, "Oh, James Harden don't even have he don't know no better."
No, and you know what? He's never been one to post anything political on his Instagram or use his platform.
If Young Thug is backing you up, his word is Bible, so you can't mess with Young Thug. Yeah, so.
I had somebody who had never mentioned Young Thug in their life send me a Young Thug tweet.
Wow.
just to clown on Harden, bro. It was ridiculous.
You know, I'm gonna give Harden the bell here. He didn't mean anything by it, and he took it off right away. He's not the guy who's gonna take a stance on anything. That's not his job.
And
Exactly.
the other thing is like he's like I guess you could say like highly fashion motivated or inspired. So he said it looked cool. I mean, I could see the picture did look crazy.
Yeah.
It almost looked photoshopped, the picture that they had posted with him having that mask on.
Speaking of that, him being fashion forward, I don't know if you got to see, they posted where his shoes and Russell Westbrook's shoes, how much space they took up in the locker compared to what they gave the rest of the players. I mean, these guys had 4 racks, just stacks and stacks of shoes. And the other guys got a shoe or two, maybe.
It was Austin Rivers that posted that.
Austin Rivers, yes.
The same person who said that Russ and Harden were about to arrive on his IG Live. Austin Rivers has been that guy for the Rockets, like kind of how Dwight Howard has been that guy for the Lakers. I know Dwight Howard's Insta Lives have been like him imitating Shannon Sharp to Skip, talking about LeBron, and then LeBron and AD just happen to walk into the gym.
And somebody narked on him, too, because of those Insta Lives.
Yeah, that's true.
No mask, and he was out there. I mean,
That's messed up.
Chris Paul strikes again.
There's a little hotline.
Yeah. All right. So, speaking of the guys that are in the bubble, the people who have tested positive, what are their statuses now? I know we said Russ is good. He's
Russ
back.
is good to go. I think
who else
Jokic
is
is good.
Brogdon.
Brogdon is good. I know Harrison Barnes. He recently tested positive.
Yeah, he did.
That was reported on the 14th. So I think he's probably still in the quarantine. Eric Bledsoe, that's a big name for the Bucks, a contender right now. He just he tested positive on the 16th, and another guy on the team, Pat Connaughton, more of a role player, he tested positive. I think just
a couple days
yesterday.
Yeah.
Yesterday, actually. So
it'd be fair to say that Bledsoe's not coming back for the first game.
I don't think he'll be there for the first game, just based on when he tested positive.
Yeah, if that 10-day quarantine is really what the law is, there in the bubble, then he won't be back for the first game.
Yeah, so it's looking a little weird for the Bucks, but they've built themselves up a nice little cushion, I believe, in the East. They're up by a couple of games on the Raptors, so I think they'll be fine. Hopefully, it's just one of those situations.
7 games on the Raptors, and there's only 8 games left on the season.
Exactly. So they'd probably be resting guys. Well, I don't know. They'd be resting guys in this situation because I'm sure there's some semblance of wanting to get guys up to speed, but you also got to weigh do you want to get people injured? And I think that's going to be a big thing. I'm blanking out. I should have it listed, but somebody just got injured and I think is out for the rest of the season with like a hip flexor. During practice. I'm going to try and look for the name, but I do think there's going to be some injuries coming back. That's just what happens when you stop play for a couple of months and then you try and go full go.
It was a Spurs player, wasn't it, Roland?
Oh, man, I should know this, but I know the hip flexor.
It was Lyles. Lyles is out. I know the center for the
Trey
Spurs.
Lyles, he's out. That's right.
Okay.
Was it for a hit?
Yes.
Yeah?
It was him.
Yeah, so at least I got the hip correct.
So Lyles is out. Aldridge is out for the Spurs. They're going to be relying heavily on Pirtle. I know Joby, the biggest San Antonio Spurs fan in San Antonio, he's been lobbying for some Pirtle time. So Pirtle's going to have a little 8-game stint right here, I guess, to hold it down for the Spurs down low.
Hopefully we get to see some Luka Samanic. Another young guy from the Spurs. There should be some playing time for a lot of these young guys, so it's going to be interesting to see. I think because the Spurs' chance of making the playoffs might be a little shot now, so it's interesting to see how they're going to play.
Percentage-wise, what would you put it at, or you want to get to that when we talk about their schedule?
I don't think there's really too much. We're going over it because, I'm a Spurs fan. We're in Texas, but realistically, I don't think they're going to make the playoffs. I'd probably put it at less than 20% to make it. So, and that's being generous, maybe. And
Roland, just forgive me. I thought they were eliminated, but I guess not. The 8th seed has 32, so they would have to win almost all 8 games to
exactly.
To
so
make
and have the 8th seed lose almost all.
And the Grizzlies? And another guy that got injured, I think, was Justice Winslow on the Grizzlies, and he was injured the whole time that he was with the Heat this past year. So
Had a very
uh,
injury-ridden career.
yeah, and that's a number 3 draft pick overall. So that's looking a little shaky for his career outlook. But it's going to be interesting to
That's
see how
'cause
these 8 seeds play it.
Pat Riley usually doesn't miss either. Now the Heat drafted him, so
Yeah.
He's a godfather.
Out of
for
Duke.
Pat Riley to take him at 3.
Yeah. Hey, so any other injuries that we know of, or critical injuries that might affect the team from this playoff with this 8 games left?
The Rondo one we had already talked about, but I think
Rondo,
that's,
exactly.
That and monitoring when Montrezl Harrell comes back to the bubble. It's not an injury, but
and Zion.
Montrez and Zion coming back because those are 2 guys on. Montrez is on a championship contending team, and the Pelicans are trying to make the playoffs. So Zion needs to
It
be
should
there.
be by this weekend, right? If they're gonna play.
I would hope they come back. So by this weekend.
Just to speak on again the players who have left the bubble, we mentioned Zion had left the bubble for personal reasons. Do we have any updates on what the reasoning was or what the situation is? I mean, he seems like a guy who was hell bent, looking good, looking in shape. Took that break very seriously. I mean, you saw the videos; he was looking good. So for him to leave the bubble, to me, it had to be serious. It had to be something very, very serious.
Montrezl Harrell as well. Yeah, you would think the same thing.
What's up with Harrell? I know Roland was mentioned he's having a hell of a season right now, and not a lot of talk on that. But what's up with him?
It's the same thing as Zion, personal reasons.
Personal
something
reasons.
for him to, something he had to take care of, urgent matter.
I just hope it's nothing Corona related or anything that they're hurting, man.
It's not hard to believe, man. I mean, you're asking these guys to go away from their families for a couple months, so something's bound to happen.
Yeah.
We've already had a couple players. I know another player on the number 3 seed in the East on the Celtics, Gordon Hayward. He came out and said that his baby's due in August or something like that, and he's leaving to go see his kid. He said he's going to cross that bridge when he gets there.
I don't blame
him. That's a big role player. He should have been more than a role player, but injuries have done other things to him. But that's still a huge role player for the Celtics. A guy who gets major minutes that would potentially be leaving and subject to a 10-day quarantine, potentially like in the playoff time frame. So. Yeah.
Part of me surprised that he came back. I know he's a big family guy, He's always making those videos of like, oh, he had another girl, because he has a bunch of girls trying to get that boy, but,
And just one more player that popped into my head before we move on from this was Victor Oladipo. He's another guy coming back from injury, and he at first sounded like he wasn't going to come back, but he has since been practicing with the team, and I think he plans to be at their scrimmage, so... Oladipo is going to be a big boost for the Pacers. That's a guy who's coming off of, I believe, an Achilles injury and is trying to work his way back from that. So excited to see what he comes back and does because that's another team that's there in the thick of things in the East.
Money talks.
All right.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I just want to talk about the schedule a little bit. Who's the actually first opening game? What time can the people watch the game at?
Well, it's that Thursday or Thursday night. It's the Clippers and Lakers. 8 o'clock on TNT. That's a game everybody, I think, is looking forward to, at least from the first slate of games to start. So big heavyweight Battle of LA taking place in Orlando. I don't know. I kind of favor the Clippers, but we'll see what happens with Montrezl Harrell coming back. I think he's a big component for them this year.
After that, we got the Raptors. And the Lakers are going to be there with the Clippers. They got the Raptors, the Jazz, the Thunder, the Rockets, the Pacers, the Nuggets, and the Kings. That's the Lakers slate to wrap up the 8-game series for them.
It's a pretty tough schedule. It's against all playoff teams.
Playoff teams, yeah.
That's
cool.
On the Bucks side, the Eastern leaders, they got the Celtics, the Rockets. So we'll see what's up there with the Rockets. I think that's a good matchup. The Nets, the Heat, the Mavs, the Raptors, the Wizards, and then the Grizzlies. That one's to be decided still. I wonder why it's left at to be decided. If the Grizzlies are no longer in playoff contention, do they play out the game anyway?
I mean, they're in the playoffs, so they would have to be.
I'm
in
just
playoffs.
saying because they're the AC. Let's say they drop out, they can't make it no more. Is that why it's TBD, or it's just because they're just fitting in the schedule?
I don't know. I think that's a good point, Justin. I don't know. I need to look more into that, but I just noticed all those games at the end are TBD in terms of the time and schedule as
Yeah.
far. Well, maybe there's another because these are all August 15th, August 13th, August 14th. Maybe there's another sporting event going on coming on this in August that they'd be competing for TV time. I don't know. That's a good question though.
Let's talk about the Spurs. Let's see how likely they could get into this playoff. They got the Kings. I think they can win that game. The Grizzlies, that's the game they have to win to help their chances, no matter what,
Yeah.
because that's the 8th seed. The Sixers,
They need those 2 games.
that's going to be tough. That's going to be a tough one, the Sixers. And then the Nuggets, another tough game. The Jazz, that's a winnable game. I always like the Spurs when they play the Jazz for some reason. I always just think the Spurs can get them.
They have a good history against the Jazz.
They do.
Come out of the playoffs a couple times.
They have a pretty good schedule.
And then the
honestly.
Pelicans come in, and that's a tough game for me, I think, because you're going to have Zion back more than likely. And
I think
That's gonna be a tough
they'll
one.
I think they'll take the Kings game because the Kings, I think they're a little decimated right now. I think De'Aaron Fox is fighting an injury. I know Harrison Barnes just got COVID. So I'll give them that game against the Kings. I don't think they're going to win their next 4. See what happens with the Pelicans. And then, I don't know. They're probably going to lose against the Rockets. And then, I don't know. I give them 1 game for sure. Memphis Grizzlies game's probably a toss-up, but everything other than that, I'd give them a loss. Just considering they don't have LaMarcus Aldridge. I know, a lot of Spurs fans would rather see, other people in the game just based on what LaMarcus does. He's not too much of a three-point shooter, although he has added that to his game in recent years. But the fact of the matter is the Spurs just don't have a roster that is gonna win out in this type of situation. I'm just more looking forward to see what happens with the young guys getting a little bit more playing time now that some slots have opened up through injury. So that's what I'm looking forward to with the Spurs.
with the Rockets at 40 wins, that's a secure spot, right, for the playoffs?
Yeah, I don't
believe
think they're
so.
dropping out. It's just all seeding for them because
Yeah.
they could end up in the 7,
It's
and that's about
crowded.
it, really. Yeah.
Ben, I'm going to go over their schedule. Let me know what you think. The Mavericks, is that a dub or a loss?
I think that's a win.
The Bucks,
I'll say it's a loss. If the Bucks have Bledsoe back, and if the Bucks are fully healthy, I would say it's a loss.
here's a game I'm sure you and Wally going to be looking forward to with Blazers.
Yeah, I think that will work the Blazers. I think we'll work the Blazers.
Big
Well,
loss
they're getting
next
Nurkic
for you
back.
guys. The Lakers after that.
That's going to be an interesting game. I think that's a toss-up game. I'm interested to see them one last time just based on their styles. And as far as the Lakers are probably just going to try and beat us up down low with AD and LeBron. Even JaVale McGee, I would expect he's had pretty good games against us just based on his length. You know what I mean?
Good lob guy.
You know,
Well,
there's a
see-
shot that we see that matchup in the playoffs.
Yeah, that's what I'm hoping for in the second round. That's what I'm hoping for. But this game, we'll see who imposes their playing style. We'll see who gets the tempo that they want to be playing at. It'll be interesting, especially because they'll at least play each other once without a crowd. I mean, it's going to be what we're going to see the whole playoffs. So I like that they play each other at least once. I do like that.
Yeah. After that, you got the Kings,
I think that's an easy win.
Spurs,
We should beat the Spurs.
Pacers.
We should beat the Pacers.
And then after that, Sixers.
That Sixers game is going to be good.
I'm looking forward to that one too, man.
Embiid's going to tear us up. Embiid will go for 30 plus guaranteed that night. But
Just let Simmons shoot.
So,
Yeah.
so the deal on Simmons, I know
Back to paint.
he's been
Back to
changing
paint.
his practice. He's no longer playing forward. Is that correct? He's just switching to point guard during practice now. Did y'all get some of that
I haven't
info?
heard of that.
No.
But I know he usually runs the show for them. But he is good in the post though, man. Whenever you get him an opportunity to back somebody down, he has a nice little game down there. He has a nice little runner into the lane. Can hit you with a little turnaround and for a nice little a spin move, into a layup.
shot. Hook shot.
Yeah, a little hook shot.
Jump hook.
He's got a nice little repertoire down there. I think it's going to continue evolving throughout his game, but his best attribute is still running the show as a point guard. So it doesn't surprise me that they're maybe making a full-time switch.
Do you think he ever gets that shot developed?
Probably not. I think if we would start seeing a little bit of an improvement by now. This is his third year in the season. Third year in the season, third year in the league.
He's shooting them now, at least. We're seeing videos of him at least shooting them now. Do you all think he makes one in the return in the playoffs? Does he
In
make
the
one?
games, make a three?
One. The over-under is at half. Are you all going over or under?
I'll take the under.
Under half. Justin?
Oh, man. Does he even attempt a three, man?
Yeah, because I just don't think
that's
he
where
can
I'm
shoot
at
very
at this
many.
point. Does
So
he even
then you're
attempt
going
it?
under.
Yeah, go under. Let me get the under.
I'm going to go over.
All
I'm
right.
going to go over. I think
That's a
he's
little
gonna make it
friendly. That's a
point.
little friendly we can take here on the podcast.
He's gonna be forced to take a game-winning shot from
He's
three.
going to be like, hey,
everyone
look
is
what I've
gonna-
been working through quarantine. He's going to shoot at least one throughout the game, bro. He's going to hit one. He might even bank it. I'm not saying it's going to be legit, but he's going to throw one up.
I just would have liked to see him make a little bit more of a push towards it already. Having being as talented as he is, and having been in the league for a little while now, and also having that whole year where he was just working out because he was, I guess, injured. You would have thought he would have been adding that shot to his repertoire, but
Griffin year.
Absolutely.
Exactly,
Like he would have been able to
exactly.
have some sort of shot by now.
So, yeah, it's a little disappointing, but I still love watching him play. He's a good point guard. Like I said, he has a nice game in the post, too. They could potentially have, like, a super huge lineup. I mean, Al Horford, Joel Embiid, and him in the game at the same time.
How do
I
y'all
don't
think that worked out for the 76ers overall?
not,
That
not
Horford's
good. I think they got the bad version of Horford. I think Horford's kind of fallen off a little cliff, if you will, but I just think it's also because that team just does not mesh well together. I don't think Embiid and Simmons are
enough
going to be
spacing.
an answer. Yeah, there's not enough spacing on that team. So I think one of them is going to end up leaving at one point.
I
not
honestly
gonna get
believe
much
that
help.
they did that.
I think it'll be Simmons leaving.
They did that, taking Horford just to get him away from the Celtics. Honestly, it doesn't make any other sense to sign Horford already having Embiid when they both play the same position. Like Horford's not a four, and neither
And you're
is
already in a crowded court already. So.
because Simmons can't shoot. Right? JJ Redick left. Like it wasn't a good move, and they paid him a lot of money too.
Yeah. Well, let's go to the second team in the West now, the Clippers. Like we mentioned, they face off against the Lakers opening night. Man, that's going to be a good matchup. We're going to see what PG and Kawhi can do. I would think I'm going to have to give the Clippers the dub there. I think just coming off opening night.
Yeah, and Doc Rivers has been complaining the whole year about not having his full squad, and now he has had a full kind of training camp with each of these guys, if you will, as fully healthy Paul George and Kawhi Leonard. So yeah, I'm with Justin here. I give the Clippers the edge in this matchup with the Lakers.
What about you, Ben? You on that too?
Nah, if Montrezl Harrell doesn't play, I think the Lakers win. I don't think that, even though that is a game where Zubac plays, due to McGee being in, Howard being in, like against the Rockets, Zubac rarely plays because they tend to go small with us. But against the Lakers, Doc Rivers doesn't try going small on them. He'll give Zubac some playing time. And I don't think that if Harrell's not there, that just means even more minutes for Zubac. And I just think that he's too slow, and I'd like the Lakers to win if Montrezl Harrell doesn't play.
Yeah. It's gonna be on Anthony Davis's shoulders, though. I know LeBron's gonna do what he does, but he needs Anthony Davis to be that guy that he was
We're gonna
trying
find out
like
this
crazy
year.
to get over.
We're going to find out this year.
Yeah, so after
This
that,
is
they got
AD's
the
chance.
Pelicans. The Clippers and the
Give him a dub
Pelicans.
there.
It's a dub.
I think they get a win there too.
Here's another dub for me. It's the Suns after that.
Yeah, I don't want to say
They just
easy.
got invited.
Yeah,
They
that's
just got invited to fill it out.
they're
Fill-in
lucky
team.
to have that on their schedule. They're lucky to have that on their schedule.
Mavericks.
That's a tough little game.
Man, I
Tough
think that
little
could be a
game.
little upset here.
Yeah.
I want to see
Load
Paul
management
George.
upset.
I want to see Pat Beverly, Paul George, and Kawhi taking turns on Luka, though, man. I think that they can really
Shut it down?
I think between all three of them, shit, if they don't, they better take a long look in the mirror.
Nice little
If
matchup
those
there.
three guys can't. That's going to be a good game.
Yeah. After that, we got the Blazers and Clippers.
I like them to win there.
I think so. Nets after that, that's a dub.
Yeah, if Mike Beasley plays, I don't know.
Hey, he's got 3 games on his contract because he's out 5 because he
That's
tested
the third.
positive.
That's his debut right there, baby.
He's gonna come out guns a blazing.
What team was he out with last? Is he back in China before this?
Yeah.
I think, or the last time I remember him in the NBA, I think it was with the Knicks, maybe.
Speaking of
I
Mike
think that
Beasley,
sounds
did y'all
right.
see that article that supposedly he just takes LeBron in practice? Like, you would whoop him on practice? I don't know if y'all saw
Oh,
that.
he was in the Lakers. He was on the Lakers. That's right.
Yeah,
now
yeah.
I'm remembering. There you go. No, I didn't see that, but hey, I mean, freaking
reported
Michael
that?
Beasley, man, he's talented, or he was. I mean, people
I was
forget
big on
what
him
he
out of
did.
Kansas State. I thought he was going to be the next
Kansas
big
State.
deal.
He was a monster. I think he was that next player to tear up the college ranks after KD left.
Yeah.
There was that string of
had a
one
good
and done.
I think he had a little
Yeah.
bit of some, mental things.
Mental issues. Yeah, no, for
Yeah.
sure. That's derailed him. But yeah, he's very, very talented cat. I like his game. Hasn't been able to put it all together for his career. He's more of a jokester. But yeah, I didn't know that about him matching up with LeBron in practice.
Yeah, I heard he would take on LeBron pretty good. After that, we got the Nuggets and Clippers. Man, I like the Nuggets in the playoffs here. I think they're a little bit of my sleeper here.
Really?
A little bit,
You like
yeah.
the Nuggets? Okay.
They're a team full of role players, in my opinion. Jamal Murray, I wouldn't say is a star. He definitely is more than a role player.
He's on the
But-
cusp.
Yeah, but and
On the
Jokic
brink.
is a star. But like
But they need Jamal Murray to get going because I remember that Spurs series last year. Every time that Jamal Murray had a bad game, that's when the Spurs were in it. And whenever Jamal Murray turned it up, it was game over. So
he has to
they
be
need him
good.
to be consistent.
Yeah, he has to be good because it takes too many guys to play good with the team that they have. They go pretty deep. They can go pretty deep, but I mean, it's a bunch of players that you need to play well if you're going to make a deep run.
Do you all see
Yeah.
anything out of Michael Porter Jr.?
I think we'll see some flashes. I think he has, some talent behind him, but his whole thing is just staying healthy. Whenever he's on the court, though, he's a pretty productive player. I like the game I like the style of play that he brings to the court.
I was high on the kid when he came out.
What is he? 6'11"?
Yeah.
Close to 7 feet and stretches the floor. Can attack off the dribble.
He had a
I
couple
like his
good
game.
games. He had a couple good games.
Yeah. I think just like
Yeah,
Roland
definitely.
said, getting that back healthy is the key, man, because
Hmm.
he needs it.
And
After that-
I'm excited to see Skinny Jokic, or Skinny Nikola Jokic. He's lost
He'll be
some
running
weight.
the court now for sure.
Yeah.
The
and running
Nuggets are
point.
gritty. They're gritty.
That's why that's my little sleeper team right there. I think they
And I
can
like
do
their
some
coach.
noise in the
I like,
playoffs.
Malone is the last name of the coach, right? It's Mike Malone or something like that. I like him. He's a gritty guy also. Kind of reminds me of like Tom Thibodeau, but modern era.
Speaking
I
of
was
gritty
rumored-
teams, their next
to be
game
the
is the Thunder.
The Thunder.
Chris Paul's
CP3.
got his guys, man. He got his
CP3 against the Clippers.
he's got his little warriors here, fighting for him.
This could be, a seeding game too, just depending how these things shake out. I know the Clippers have a couple games on the Thunder, but the Thunder are log jammed in that 4 through 7 with the Rockets, Jazz, and Mavs, all
Yeah,
at 40 and
that's-
41 wins.
Right.
So the Thunder for sure going to be going. So you know what? Give me the Thunder in that game because I think the Clippers will have the 2 or the 3 locked up by then. So yeah, give me the Thunder.
The Rockets and the Thunder are both 40 and 24, 9.5 games back. The Thunder have the tiebreaker on the Rockets, so they're the 5th seed, and they're a game back of the Jazz in the 4th seed. The Jazz are 8.5 back, so it's pretty clogged right there. I think that I expect it to end up with the Rockets at 4, the Jazz at 5, and the Thunder at 6. That's what I expect when it's all said and done.
The Rockets' schedule is not that bad. I think
Yeah.
it's favorable for them.
It
I
eases
just
up
need-
after that Laker game. I think
Yeah,
that
just
they
need
can
to
go 6
stay
and
healthy.
2. I think we can go 6 and 2 if we play right.
All right.
I can
well,
see that too.
Those are the schedules we have to break down. Anything else y'all see or stands out to you schedule-wise that you're looking forward to?
I'd be interested to see the Thunder schedule. Let me pull it up here.
For me, I just want to see what kind of national coverage these games are going to get. Just because before I had the NBA Pass and I was watching games, are all these games going to be national, or are we going to have to again use our pass to watch some of these games?
Sure.
What kind of coverage we're going to get on these?
Yeah, I'm excited to see kind of how they deal with the no fans, and if it's going to be quiet or they're going to fill it in with some music in there. I know there's some talk about Adam Silver wanting there to be a delay on the broadcast so we wouldn't hear the "I got that shit" or the "fuck out of here" on the rebounds and shit. So yeah, give me that shit. The
Carmelo's the F out of here. Yeah.
Yeah, he's the F out of here, guys. So I'm interested to see. And, there's going to be guys jawing back and forth. These are all playoff contending teams for the most part. So they're going to be highly contested games. And I'm going to be looking forward to seeing, how the race in the West shakes out as far as who gets that 8 seed and where the Lakers and the Clippers end up at the end of it. I think the Lakers have the 1 seed locked up for the most part, but I'm just interested to see how both teams play these 8 games. Like, is there going to be some rest factor, or are they just focused on getting everybody ready for the playoffs?
Speaking on that delay, what we were talking about earlier was the possibility of increase on technicals. Now you're without fans, you're going to hear these guys talking that smack to each other during little breaks, Do you think the players themselves will get more technicals, or do you think it's going to be the coaches who are yelling at the refs that'll get the more technicals? I think we're going to see an increase.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think it'll
be the players.
Yeah, the players.
Yeah.
Players?
Yeah, we know Draymond's not participating, or else he'd be thrown out of at least half of the games.
He might not make that full 8-game stretch.
Yeah, for sure. Hey, real quick, I pulled up the Thunder schedule.
Give it to us.
So the Thunder open up against the Jazz. After the Jazz, they got the Nuggets. After the Nuggets, they got the Lakers, the Grizzlies. Then they got the Wizards and Suns, which I think are 2 easy wins. Those are the 2 for sure wins that I see on their schedule. Then they got the Heat and Clippers. So not the easiest of schedules, but they do see the Wizards and the Suns, which I would think they would clean up on them. But the good thing is that they came right back to that Jazz and Thunder game as their first game back. We know that's the game that caused the whole stoppage to the NBA season. So it is nice that, it is nice that they're running it back.
Another quick question I got for you guys. Have the Vegas odds on these games already been laid out?
I think the Lakers and Clippers game, it's spread. The Lakers are a short favorite. I think it's like 1.5. So pretty much a toss-up game between the Lakers and the Clippers.
When do you think we'll see the odds laid out for the rest of the season?
Well, that's usually on a game-by-game basis. Are you talking about
just on the 8-game schedule? I think I thought they would have had that by now.
Oh, maybe. But usually, I keep track of it just on a game-by-game.
Yeah, they wouldn't have odds for every single.
I know they had the futures for this season for the return.
Yeah. But they won't have like game by game odds because the odds are going to change like with an injury or with just how a team is playing or whatever it may be.
Yeah. All right. Well, that's it for the scheduling. Let's get into some awards, some potential awards here. Which award do y'all want to start with?
Let's do everybody's favorite. Let's do the MVP.
Let's go straight into the big one, the main one. All right,
Mama, you're the real MVP.
Roland, I want to hear who's your MVP and why.
Well, what are the odds?
Yeah, what are the odds? What are the odds?
All right, we'll speak on the odds. Giannis is at minus 2,400.
Okay,
LeBron
it's a little bit of a favorite.
Plus 1,100. James Harden plus 8,000.
Harden, top
Luka plus 8,000. Kawhi plus 9,500. Anthony Davis plus 10,000. Lillard plus 10,000. Jokic plus 10,000. Russell plus 10,000.
Yeah, two Rockets have odds. Would you look at that?
And, the odds are out there, and I think we should just say that none of these 8 games are counting towards, them winning the MVP or Sixth Man of the Year. What's already done is done. And with that said, I just got to go with the best player on the best team, and it's the short favorite. It's Giannis Antetokounmpo, the Greek Freak. He's my MVP for the year. I agree with the odds. I mean, he's been better in every category than the number 2 guy on this list, LeBron James, who's also had a great year, probably had the best year for a 35-year-old ever. But Giannis Antetokounmpo has just been flat out a monster the whole year. He's pretty much averaging 30 and 14 and then throwing 6 assists, and he's highly efficient, shooting over 50% from the field, or about 54%. So, yeah, give me Giannis Antetokounmpo all day. And I can make the case for him to win Defensive Player of the Year, too, but we'll wait for that.
We'll get to that.
Yeah.
And your case and your winner and why.
Well, I'm gonna agree with Roland, but it's not a short favorite. I mean, minus 2,400 is.
I was joking around.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. I didn't.
I caught it, Roland. I knew you were being a little jokester. Yeah.
My bad.
Facetious. I was being facetious. Excuse me.
But I think that just shows you it's pretty much wrapped up. Like Vegas ain't about, and because plus 1,100 is good odds for LeBron, bro. If if you put $10 on him and you're gonna win $110, I mean that's not bad to take a shot like that. ESPN is gonna be pumping him. Do I agree with the odds? No, I do think it is a lot closer. But Giannis averages more points. He averages more rebounds. He doesn't average more assists. His team has more wins. It's usually the best player on the best team. It'll be interesting to see if they give it to him back to back. We know they don't like giving it to the same guy that often. Giannis does only have one, but I think the odds pretty much tell the story for us.
Yeah, I thought LeBron had a strong case for MVP last year before his injury, because I thought that team was outperforming expectations, and he was the only guy on the team. But not to take from him, but Anthony Davis does help out a little bit, and like Ben said, Giannis is almost beating him in every category. So yeah, not much debate there.
All right. Well, for me, guys, I'm just gonna give it to you straight. This is my little hot take.
Okay.
LeBron James is the MVP this season, and here's why. Because if LeBron James didn't want to play basketball, we wouldn't have this return. He saved the season, and he's the MVP for that reason alone. We're all here because LeBron still wanted to play and wants this ring, and that's the truth, and y'all know it. And that's why they're going to give him the MVP.
Yeah, maybe when Giannis gives his MVP speech, he'll do the KD and say, "LeBron, you the real MVP." Not come back. I wouldn't have had this MVP.
That's true too. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's my little reasoning. I'm thinking the Lakers might not get this ship, and a little consolation prize for my boy. Give LeBron a little MVP.
It's not bad odds, bro. Those are pretty big odds.
I will be putting my money behind it. I will.
For the face of the league, and somebody who the media likes to tout. But you got to think Vegas doesn't lose. You know what I mean?
Nah, not that big.
Those are crazy odds. Minus 240 is what I would have thought, not minus 2,400. Honestly, if I was setting the odds, just because of the push that I think LeBron's getting and how much more he means to the game than Giannis. But that's pretty wild odds. I didn't see them until right now when we went over them.
All right. Oh, so MVP. Let's move on to Rookie of the Year. Is that good for you guys?
Yeah, that's fine with me.
All right. I think that's a 2-horse race in reality. Zion and Ja Morant. Let me hear your case, boys. Who's got it?
Man, this is another one that has the odds that are crazy, right? The Ja Morant's a minus 3,500 favorite. And I think, rightfully so. He's played more games, I'm just going to start there, than Zion Williamson. I don't think Zion's played enough to be truly, truly considered. But I think the other factor is these 8 games aren't going to count. I think you can maybe make an argument for Zion if he was able to will his team to the playoffs and stuff like that. But fact of the matter is, Ja Morant's had a really, really good rookie year. And he is the reason why the Grizzlies find themselves in the position that they're in today. So, yeah, give me Ja Morant.
Yeah, nobody had the Grizzlies in the playoffs. The reason they're in the playoffs is because of John Morant. Zion's not in the playoffs. The odds are minus 3,500. That's a wrap.
Let's have a little bit more fun with this. So, which player do you think is going to win MVP first, or do you think any of these players will win MVP in their respective careers? John Morant and Zion Williamson.
I think John Morant before Zion will get MVP.
Okay.
I would say Zion before Ja, but neither ever. I mean, Zion would have to average like 28 and like 12.
I think
I
John
don't
Morant.
think he could do that.
I'd take Ja just because he's a perimeter player. He's going to have stupid numbers. He might average a triple-double one year. I think he's a candidate to do that. He was a triple.
He would, yeah.
He was a triple-double monster at Murray State, so I think that's in his cards.
All right. And everybody's favorite award every year, Defensive Player of the Year.
Yeah, Defensive Player of the Year, and I want to spend, again, on the odds is they've changed. So Anthony Davis was the favorite on March the 2nd. And today he finds himself as a plus 150 underdog.
He was
to
minus
Giannis.
150.
Exactly. So that something flipped. So I don't know. Who do you think's going to win, Ben? Between those two, or who's your guy?
If I'm choosing Pat Bev is because on Christmas Day he stripped LeBron, sealed the deal, baby. Nah. Who do I think should win? I think Anthony Davis should win. I think he stayed healthy all season. He held it down for the Lakers. I mean, they're the number 1 seed in the West. I know LeBron has had close to an MVP year also, but Anthony Davis usually is out a couple games during the season, or not even a couple games, but a stretch. And he battled through some shoulder injuries and a couple of other things, and he's been pretty consistent. So I agreed with the odds on March the 2nd, and I think Anthony Davis is the Defensive Player of the Year. But it's crazy for Giannis to go from plus 275 to minus 230. That's a big jump. I guess they want Giannis to clean up on these awards. I don't know what's going on, but my vote would be for Anthony Davis.
Yeah,
It's nice to not see Draymond Green's name in here. Also,
well, I mean,
didn't play much defense with the
yeah,
rest in the league.
and he was one of the bigger guys who would campaign for his name to be up there anyways. Like, hey, don't forget about me, kind of a deal. But just back to the 2020 odds, I'd probably have to agree and say Anthony Davis is probably the MVP. I know I said I could make a case for Giannis, and I think you can. But Anthony Davis, he's that new age center, patrols the paint. He can lock up on the switch on the pick and roll and give you some perimeter defense, which he's done all year. And, I mean, he's just a beast patrolling the rim. I mean, he's an automatic 2 or 3 blocks a game. He's a contender to even get 5 or 6 a game some nights. So, yeah, give me Anthony Davis. I saw Frank Vogel was clamoring for Anthony Davis and LeBron James to win the 2 awards that we were just talking about, an MVP and a Defensive Player of the Year. And yeah, and he's a coach who wants to stay in the good graces of his stars also, because he can just be gone with tomorrow if one of those guys didn't want him there. So yeah, give me Anthony Davis, and I think for good reason too.
All right, let's move on to Sixth Man of the Year. I'll read you the odds, guys. Dennis Schroeder, minus 190. Montrezl Harrell, plus 210. Lou Williams, plus 420. Derrick Rose, plus 3,300.
Shout out
Davis
Derrick Rose.
Bertans, plus 10,000. Dragic, plus 10,000. Clarkson, plus 10,000. Marcus Smart, plus 10,000. And Kyle Kuzma, plus 10,000. Kylie Kuzma.
Man, I just got to say, forget you, Marcus Morris, or whatever Morris brother it was that screwed over the Spurs and made us trade Bertans to free up room for you. Screw you, man. I'm still mad at that. Just seeing Bertans' name on
That was a
this.
bad move in hindsight.
Yeah, I had to get that off my chest because not only was he
Roland,
a
I felt
contender
that,
in
man.
this,
I felt you when you
but
said that, man.
he was he was in that 3-point shooting competition, so he really took off this year, Davis Bertans. But anyways, my pick here, I'm actually going to go with an underdog. I like Montrezl Harrell. I know the odds don't reflect that, and these 8 games won't matter, but Harrell's a guy who averaged 19, 7, and 2, and for a team that was really needing some inside presence, he did that and coming off the bench. So holding down the paint, providing points from the paint, also at 19 a game almost. Give me Montrezl Harrell.
Wow. Those are good stats.
Yeah, For me, I'm going to go with the favorite. I'm going to go with Dennis Schroeder. Just like Montrezl Harrell, averaging 19 points as well. 4 assists. We know that the Thunder weren't even supposed to be in the playoffs. That was part of the reasoning of shipping off Russell Westbrook. And Dennis Schroeder has been a big spark. As soon as CP3 sits down, I mean, he comes in and runs the offense. And it's like they really don't even miss a beat, man. So I think he's a respectable favorite. And I think that Lou Williams, his odds are right there, right behind Montrezl Harrell. I think he's going to steal some votes from Montrez. So I'm going to go with Schroeder.
There we go. Yeah, and Schroeder, he's a guy that you really don't think about because Shai Gilgeous-Alexander and CP3 get all the love, but like Ben said, whenever he goes in, not missing anything.
Yeah.
Let's move on to most improved player. I'll get you the odds here. Bam Adebayo minus 140. Brandon
Ben's favorite
Ingram
player.
plus 260. Luka plus 550. Jason Tatum plus 1,000. And Devontae Graham plus 1,100.
Ben,
Yeah.
take the stage. It's your favorite player.
Yeah, I'm a big Bam Adebayo fan, man. All the love comes off of 2K, but I do like watching him play.
That's why.
I do enjoy watching him play.
He's a better version of Draymond.
Yeah, he's a bigger Draymond. He's a longer Draymond. He has a better shot than Draymond. Averaging 16 points before he was a career. He was averaging under 10 points, so he almost doubled his scoring average. 5 assists a game also, for a dude 6'9", giving you the 5 assists a game. I think that's pretty beast. And I think that he's the most improved player. Ain't nothing else to say about it.
And I like Bam as a respectable favorite, but I'm going to take another underdog, and this is just me personally. I like Brandon Ingram and the jump that he made from moving over to the Lakers to the Pelicans. And just in the matter of a year, you saw what happened once he got the chance to run the show as the key scorer. I mean, he went from 18 a game to 24, and that's with most of the attention on you at that point in time. So I don't think it's as simple as saying, hey, he got more shots, so he got more points. I do think that plays into it. But when you go from being a second or third option to being the focal point on that team, you're getting a lot more defensive pressure on you. He added the 3-point game to his game this year in terms of, I think he improved on his percentage from one year to the next pretty drastically. So he went from being a 33% to almost 39%. So that's about 1 or 2 more 3-point shots a game or going in. So yeah, give me Brandon Ingram, and man, Lakers fans, I think that might hurt seeing him make that jump 1 year to the next.
Under him is Luka, and Luka was the guy that had MVP odds as well. I think he's not in this class of players. I would say Luka's more elite.
For sure.
After him, Jason Tatum, also another guy who took a huge jump this year, and plus 1,000 odds on him are pretty crazy as well.
I thought they'd be a little shorter on Jason Tatum, considering how
many
a
run, bro.
Huge games he had in what was it, January? Where he was just going hard. I think they beat the Clippers in double overtime, and he dropped 39. I think they were showing that game on NBA TV the other day. Yeah, he's a walking bucket, and out of all these guys, he's my favorite player. I like the Celtics as a Eastern Conference threat, depending on if he can keep it up.
Right. Yeah, Tatum can ball. I got a lot of respect for him. Just the work he put in with Kobe and whatnot. That was pretty cool to see.
Yeah, that's true. Rest in peace.
Yeah. Hey guys, just got an alert. It's not NBA related, but it just freaked me out a bit. So T.O. was chilling with Tyreek Hill, and he challenged him to a 40.
It was like 3 steps behind him.
And T.O. Hit a 4.4.
It doesn't surprise me, man. He's a freak of nature.
That guy's a freak athlete, man.
T.O. and Ocho Cinco are still in crazy shape, always doing all this ridiculous.
It just tripped me out, that alert. I just had to tell you. I was like 4.4 at his age, man.
That's my favorite NFL
receiver,
bro, right there.
Put some respect on his name.
Yeah.
Put some respect on his name.
Quarterback.
All right, well,
oh boy.
That's it for NBA awards, guys. What else do we want to talk about NBA related?
Let's get into this This
The-
8 seed race.
The race for the 8 seed.
The
Yeah.
8 seed race.
Yeah.
Let's get into it. The odds are out on it.
Well, there's only 3 teams really who have a chance, in my opinion, at
Grizzlies.
the 3 seed. Yeah.
Pelicans, Blazers. Let me read those odds. Memphis Grizzlies -120, Pelicans +275, Blazers at +400. After that, like Roland said, there's a big fall off. You got the Kings at +1200, the Spurs at +5000, the Suns at +20,000. That's not happening, and the Mavs, who are a complete lock, at a +100,000.
Yeah, I think that's maybe if they lose every game, the Grizzlies can jump them. I think that's why they're in
The
there.
Mavs are not. The Mavs to be the 8 seed, so the
Yeah.
Mavs are pretty much locked in at the 7.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But they'd have to lose every game, I think.
Yeah.
But give me, I'm feeling the underdogs here. Give me the Blazers. I think they're going to turn it up. Nurkic coming back is huge for them. They were missing size. You got Zach Collins coming back, and you still got that 2-headed monster, Dame time. It's always Dame time, and CJ McCollum, who I absolutely love their game as a backcourt. So I think they're going to step it up. Damian Lillard, I saw he was celebrating his birthday a couple of days ago, and he said the only gift that I want is for us to not freaking waste our time down here. He used some other language, but
Yeah.
he's locked in, and I know he's one of the guys that didn't want to come and play, but since they're there, I think he's going to be playing with an attitude, and give me the Blazers to get in over the Grizzlies.
Yeah, that's an interesting pick, Roland. I don't give them much of a chance, but looking at it, they have the best roster out of all of these teams. But why are they in the position that they're in?
Underperforming, and they missed Nurkic, I think, a lot. They didn't have a true big presence the whole year. Zach Collins got hurt throughout, and I think he's coming back also. And I think they just underperformed. And Cantor's on the Celtics now. So they've been missing an inside presence. So hopefully Nurkic is that answer they've been looking for. And yeah, like Ben just said, they have the most talented roster.
They definitely have the most talented roster out of all the teams trying to make the 8 seed. But I'm going to go with Ja, man. I like Ja, big fan of Ja. I think he's a dog, and they fought all season for this. They were in the 8 seed. Who knows how it would have ended, but they were positioned there. So I like them to win 4 games and keep their seeding.
So, hey, the big game for both of these teams is against each other. Friday on the 31st, they lead off Grizzlies versus Blazers.
That's going to be
So whoever wins that game, I think if the Blazers steal that game, they can make a little run. So
Blazers
They're
will
going to
be
be coming for
favored.
each other's necks in that game, man.
for sure.
that's going to be a great
Forward to
game.
that one.
How many games back are the Blazers?
So based on the standings, the Blazers are
29 wins.
3 games back, 3.5
3
games back.
out of the Grizzlies.
3.5.
3.5. So that would put them at 2.5, beating them head to head that opening.
They need that game. They
That would be
need
big.
that game.
Yeah, that would be big.
What else is on
Who do
there?
you got, Justin? Who do you think? You think Zion and the Pelicans are going to make a push?
You know, I think they're going to win a few games, but I think they're going to be at that 9th seed. I think we're going to see Grizzlies and Blazers. I think that's who we'll see. I think the Mavs fall off.
The who?
The Mavs.
You don't think the Mavs make the playoffs?
I think they fall off here. No, wait a minute. No, I'm reading this wrong.
They're only included in the odds because they're mathematically they can
I'm
drop
reading
back
this
to
wrong.
8.
So you think
it's going to be the Grizzlies and the Blazers. There's no Pelican chance here.
But so the Grizzlies and the Blazers are going to play that 3-game. If it would go in right now, they would be the ones, right? Because that's going to be like a playing game regardless.
Yeah.
I mean,
So-
just because the Grizzlies are 4 games ahead of the Pelicans, so I just don't see it for the Pelicans.
But honestly, all Dame needs to do is keep his positioning. Like, don't fuck it up, and you're going to have that 3-game series. Or unless you lose that first game to them.
Exactly. The 9 has to win 2.
Hey,
Yeah.
let's somebody pull up the Blazers 8-game schedule.
I have it up right here. So the Blazers, like I mentioned, when Ben was talking about the Grizzlies, they play each other in the first game coming back, Friday the 31st at 3 o'clock. Grizzlies versus Blazers. After that, the Blazers play the Celtics, which is kind of tough. They play the Rockets, another tough game. They play the Nuggets. Then they play the Clippers, the Sixers, and the Clippers, the Sixers, the Mavericks, and they finish off with the Nets. So they have a pretty tough schedule.
Favors.
There's
They have
some
a
wins
pretty
there
tough
for them,
schedule.
though.
Yeah, there's some wins to be had. I think
They
can
have to win that Grizzlies game.
I think they can eke out a win against the Rockets, depending what that looks like. I think they can potentially hang with the Nuggets, but I don't know. It's going to be Nurkic versus Jokic. They were both on the same team at one point. Interestingly enough, they're both on the Nuggets. I think the Nuggets made the right choice. But yeah, the Blazers have kind of a tough schedule, but like Justin said, there's some wins to be had there. So who out of all of these teams, let's just say the top 8 or whatever are set, do you guys like anybody that's not, let's say, the Lakers or the Clippers or the Bucks to make a run?
The Nuggets, I like the Nuggets.
So you would call the Nuggets your dark horse team to look out for?
I would say so. I like that team. And on the Eastern side, I like the Heat to make a little noise.
Okay.
That's who I like in the East. I like the Heat. And can I call the Rockets a dark horse?
Yeah, I think so.
I mean, that's 6. You could call them a
What-
dark horse.
Making it to the Western Conference Finals be considered that's a run, right? I think that's feasible. I think that
That's
they
a
can.
run.
That's upsetting somebody.
Yeah. So I'm going to go with the Rockets as my dark horse. Not saying they're going to win the title, but I'm saying that they can win 2 rounds of games.
Yeah, and my dark horse in the West, I was going to say the Rockets, but just for sake of being different here, I do think the Thunder have a pretty good roster that could potentially see them win a series or 2. You got the point guard who's going to have you in the position to win, I think, in CP3, and then we just mentioned the 6th man of the year, and another guy who I'm surprised isn't in the most improved player category in SGA, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander is another good guy, and they have some post presence too, so give me the Thunder as a dark horse in the West. And then in the East, I mean, this is probably one of my favorite teams this year to watch is the Celtics. But I think a lot of it's going to be on Kemba Walker. I heard a lot that he's coming into the bubble on a minutes restriction because of his knee. So that's going to be something to look out for. But yeah, I like the Celtics' chances depending on where they end up on this seeding. I think they could either end up on the 3 or the 4. But yeah, I like the Celtics to make a little run.
I think the biggest problem for the Thunder is at the end of the game, like when they really need a bucket. Like,
Who do they go to?
Are they still counting on CP3 to be that number 1 guy that gets you a bucket when you need it?
He's knocked down some game winners this year. I think he had like 1 or 2 as the season went on. So I think that's an answer. But I think it's a good point too. They don't have a definitive guy to get that one shot. But also, I do want to see how the Bucks in the playoffs come to play, because we saw them kind of flame out against the Raptors last year. I think everybody was expecting Giannis to take over that series, but they showed potentially, dare I say, a blueprint on how to beat the Bucks and Giannis. So I think that's going to be something to look out for and see if the Bucks can make this run. So they're
going to have to hit shots.
Yep, exactly. And Eric Bledsoe, he has the coronavirus right now, so he needs to come back too. So yeah, the East is looking a little shaky here.
It's there for somebody to make a run. Mm-hmm. Definitely there for somebody to make a run.
So guys, any word on what the teams that did not get invited to this bubble are going to be doing?
Hopefully staying at home
Watch
and not
from
trying
the couch
to get
like a.
So there's no plan to play out anything for them at all?
I think they said they wanted to, and I see the reasoning why, because they potentially could go without having played basketball from March to whenever this next season starts. So that's never good, especially for like player development and stuff.
Yeah.
So I could see the reasoning for getting them together, but just with everything that's going on, numbers are rising in some places, including Florida, where they're going to have this bubble. I just don't think it makes much sense for them. They should just stay at home, get some practice in, however they can, but it doesn't make sense for them. I wouldn't watch them play.
I get you. Anything else on the NBA y'all want to touch or cover on?
Who's going to win it? Who's winning the title?
I'm a homer, man. I'm just going to be
Yeah,
honest.
I can
It's
tell by
this
your
team
background.
right here,
All right. I mean, they're the favorite.
Every year.
They're the favorite right now to win the
Every
championship.
year.
It's close, but the Lakers are the favorite. And they're going to be the most motivated team because, as Justin said, we wouldn't have a season right now if it weren't for LeBron James.
LeBron with his ship and his
working
MVP
behind the
together,
scenes.
it's gonna be nice.
Yeah, but I'm sorry, Lakers fans. It's not because I don't like the Lakers. I'm a Spurs fan, obviously, but I do like and respect LeBron James as a player and what he brings off the court. But just give me the Clippers here. I think they needed this little break. I
We're
think
not friends anymore.
if anybody benefits off of the break the most, in my opinion, it's the Clippers. They were a little banged up. They get a lot of time to get rest. Kawhi Leonard got to go to the strip club a little bit. Man, I think they're going to win this title. They match up well with the Lakers. They have the perimeter defense, and hopefully Montrezl Harrell comes back, because I think that's a big key. But if he does come back and everything is as it was beforehand, give me the Clippers to win the title. And Kawhi Leonard got to put himself in the argument for best player in the league, because he just don't go from team to team to team and win title after title after title.
Like Santa Claus, just giving out titles.
Exactly.
That would be something, man, if he wins with a third team.
And I wish I wasn't agreeing with Roland just to have a different take, but I mean, I want to be right when we look at this after the whole playoffs and everything is over. And I've been saying the Clippers since we talked about this, earlier when the NBA was coming back. They have too much defense. They have too much defense and guys that can play multiple positions and guard multiple players. I like Doc Rivers as a coach. He's got experience. He's won titles. I think Kawhi right now is probably the best player in the NBA that you want for a series. Like, if I wanted a guy for a series, I definitely want Kawhi as a guy just because of everything that he brings. So, yeah, I'm going with the Clippers, man.
All right.
But it's going to be a good
two
West.
Clippers and one Lakers.
Yeah. I don't think that the Bucks are ready. It's going to be interesting to see if they don't win one before Giannis is up for a deal and if he decides to bounce on them.
If they lose this year, do you think the chances of him, depending how they lose, how it shakes out, do you think he finds himself teaming up with Steph Curry and the Warriors?
Win or lose, in my opinion, he's gone.
Really?
Yes.
Really? Even if
absolutely.
they win the title?
No
Win
chance.
or lose.
If he wins the title, he's staying. I think he's going to be one of those guys that stays forever. But
he's gonna go. He's gonna go West Coast, where the marketability is a little higher, and it's a little.
So you think he's going to
sunnier.
find himself in the Bay? He's going to find himself in San Francisco?
I think
Chilling
so.
with Joseph?
To sell out this new stadium.
We'll see how they make that work with all the money they're paying everybody. But
You know who can do it is those dudes up in Silicon Valley, man. They got the numbers. They know what to do.
Ben, you wouldn't want that to happen, Ben?
hell no, bro.
Ben's still having nightmares from it, you know?
It's gonna take more than a call from the parking lot from Draymond.
Draymond's going to be shipped. That's the thing. He's not going to be making the call. He's going to be getting the call. It's like, oh, shit, I'm going to Milwaukee? Okay.
They might send like Draymond, Wiggins, and who knows what else, draft picks and everything to the Bucks if Giannis just demands a trade. And Giannis with those shooters would be, it would.
He don't want to see it. He doesn't even want to think about it.
I'm not gonna get my brother excited.
No, I don't want to think about it either. So, and this is very far fetched. None of this has happened yet. We're just shooting the shit. So yeah, I don't know. It'd be weird. I wouldn't want to see him in blue and gold myself. Just throwing it out there.
I do. I like chaos.
I like chaos. That's not chaos, fam. That's like the league would be planned again for the next 2, 3, whatever, however many years he signs for. Fuck that.
Well,
but basketball's back, baby.
Yeah, big time. Looking forward to it.
10 days away. 10 days away.
I'm glad that these 8 games, some of these games really matter. It's not just some 8 fluff games to get them ready. There's some playoff implications in these games, and it's something to look forward to in this last 8 games, especially for the West. And man, we'll see what happens. I mean, the dramatics that can happen here with this bubble, you just don't know what thought comes through or what happens, what can unfold. I mean,
I'm happy to get a NBA the TNT crew back, man.
Ernie and the boys.
Shaq, Chuck, and all of them. I know that they've been on for a while, but I just can't watch them when there's really not basketball on. It's more like I like.
They need a reason to be together.
I like to hear the crazy shit that they say at halftime, or just their predictions prior to the game, how they feel at halftime, and then the way they eat the crow after the game.
The other thing also, like you mentioned, Ben, is it also makes the morning shows better. Like when you got Jalen and Jacoby talking and people like that.
All about NBA.
Yeah, it just makes everything else better when you got sports.
Get ready for as soon as next Monday hits, it's gonna be nothing but Lakers and Clippers talk. Lakers and Clippers talk all week on all those shows.
Well deserved talk too.
Yeah, they're the opening
for sure.
game.
I mean, they're the 1 seeds too, 1 and 2 seed. But I'm also just before. I hope nobody tests positive during the season. That would suck.
Well,
I don't know how
they
could
would handle that.
Yeah, I mean, as long as the protocols be followed, it should be fine.
Hopefully. It would suck if one of the main players got sick before a game or something like that. That would be like a major asterisk for sure. But hopefully it doesn't come to that.
We got another show anyways on Monday before, the season starts on that Thursday or Friday, whatever it may be.
Mm-hmm.
We might get into a little bit of baseball since baseball season's kicking off here
on
in the
Thursday
next couple
too.
of days. Yeah.
We'll be able to talk about the games that have happened because it's already kicking off Thursday.
Yeah.
Nats versus Yankees. Yes, sir.
Yeah.
That'll be good.
Speaking of Nats and Yankees, guess who's throwing the opening pitch for the Nats and Yankees?
Dr. Fauci.
Dr. Fauci.
And Roland's going to be there behind him. What about me? I'm the real
That's
one.
my cousin.
Roland at a New York game, he would have thrown it just like 50 Cent did, bro.
Yeah, I would have thrown it all the way out, man.
Roland would have been throwing at Garrett Cole at the bullpen, hitting him.
That just slipped. It just slipped.
Hey, that was an accident.
No hard feelings.
Traitor. Well, guys, I think that's it for the NBA. Any last words on it?
No, excited to see everything back.
Let's
Glad
get it.
that the Rockets are at full strength to start the season. No excuses. No excuses. Y'all heard it here.
Yeah,
No
hopefully
excuse.
Bledsoe gets back too, man, and I want to see that team at full strength as well.
Yeah. I mean, I hope he's okay. I don't know about that.
All right, well, this is we talking about sports. This is the exclusive NBA Return podcast. If there's anything that you heard on the podcast and you want to talk about it, drop us a line on Twitter or Facebook. We're here to commentate. We might have a little something for you guys on Friday, so be looking forward to that if it happens. That's just in the works. So thank y'all for listening. Any last words, guys? Any goodbyes?
Well, sir. See you guys later.
All right, that's it.
I'm supposed to be the franchise player, and we're in here talking about practice. I mean, listen, we talking about practice. Not a game. We talking about practice. Not a game.
Me. Bam, bam. Me, man.
Not a game.
Slap that like she scored 30.
We talking about sports. I mean, what we even talking about, man? We talking about sports here.